Let's be real. Shortages of medications suck. It sucks for everybody involved. And it's really stressful to think I'm making so much progress with this medication. Like, it's truly helping me. What am I going to do? Hey everybody, it's Allie. I am on a fantastical weight loss journey. I hope that you'll come along for the ride, the shenanery, the fun that's in store. It is very early in the morning and I am already thinking about the shortage. So I wanted to talk about it. And this is one of those topics that is very sensitive for a lot of people. And there are people who are on either side of the argument. So let's talk about the shortage itself first. Eli Lilly keeps pushing out the dates on the shortage, right? And while on the FDA site, it's still listed as just the higher doses, I can tell you firsthand, living in a small town, exactly what is happening, which is what I thought was going to happen. So what's currently happening is that everybody who was on these higher doses is now going to their doctor and getting them to prescribe the lower doses so they can maintain the medicine in their system, and it's causing a shortage of the lower doses. I tried to get a 3-month supply of 5 milligram Mounjaro, and we had to do a 1 month on top of that because they couldn't fill the 3-month. And I have never had any issues. And I was talking to the pharmacist yesterday and she said they don't have anything. They don't have anything. And she confirmed exactly what I thought, which was the people who were at the higher doses are now, moving to the lower doses in an attempt to keep it in their system through the shortage. And now it's creating a shortage of lower doses, which I just want to be clear. I don't blame them for doing that. It's a smart play, right? Because if it comes completely out of your system and then stock becomes available and then you're trying to get back on that dose that you were at previously, it can be a really painful transition, right? Because the medicine's left your system. And if you're going 2, 3, 4 weeks without medicine, you may essentially have to start over, right? But you won't be able to start over because there's a shortage on the lower doses now because the people from the higher doses have come down, right? Like, it's like this vicious cycle. But I wanted to talk about a few key points that I see. And I mainly see this in the diabetic groups, but I also see it in the groups that are just kind of for everybody, right? Weight loss and diabetic. There are people like myself who are diabetic, who are on this medication, and they feel incredibly angry about all of the people who are still on Mounjaro name brand for specifically weight loss, right? So the whole reason why Eli Lilly created Zepbound is because Mounjaro was being prescribed for weight loss off-label, right? So now they've, kind of branched it off. Now they've got the weight loss version, which is the Zepbound, and slowly but surely, insurance companies are pushing people off of Mounjaro who were on it for weight loss only, who do not meet the diabetic criteria. But that's a process that takes time. And they are allotted a certain amount of time to make that happen, right? They don't just drop everybody overnight. They kind of do it in phases. Different insurance companies will do it. They'll cover it for a while, and then they'll just cut it off and say, hey, you have to go to Zepbound or some other medication, another GLP-1 or weight loss option. So there are still many people who are on Mounjaro who were prescribed it off-label. And diabetics are furious about this because of the shortage. They get very, very angry, and they get very passionate in these support groups. And I just want to say that for me personally, it doesn't matter to me the reason why you're on a GLP-1. If it's to help you with your autoimmune condition, if it's to help you with weight loss, if it's to help you with diabetes, if it's to help you with PCOS, if it's to help you with, now they're talking about all the benefits for heart and liver conditions, right? It doesn't matter to me what your reason is. If this medication is helping you, I feel like everyone should have access to it, regardless of the reason. I don't care if it's just for weight loss. I don't care if it's for diabetes. If you have a reason and your doctor agrees with you and this medication helps you, you should 100% have access to it. I will say that opinion makes me unpopular in the diabetic groups, right? Because it's very easy to play the blame game, right? Well, I could have access to my medication if these people weren't on it just for cosmetic reasons, blah, 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 right? It's very easy to get caught up in that negativity. And if you are one of those people that feels that way, first of all, let me say, I understand your frustration. I get it. But let me also say that any legitimate reason for someone to be on these medications is a legitimate reason. You can't place a value on your diabetes over somebody else's PCOS, right? And I just want to really put that in perspective for people, because in our lives, it's very easy to, get angry and be like, I'm so mad this person wants to lose 30 pounds and da 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 da, and I can't get my medicine, I'm a diabetic, right? It's very easy to fall into that trap. Let me tell you where your anger should be placed. Your anger should be placed with the company who is making the medication. That is where your anger should be directed, because they came out with Zepbound. They haven't, as least as far as I've seen, amped up production in a meaningful manner to really offset this shortage. They're branching out into Europe, right? Now, I understand that it is a work in progress. They're working on the multi-dose pen, right? So instead of 4 pens in a box, it'll all be in 1 pen, which I understand will help them quite a bit with production issues, because the issue is not with the medication itself, like the medicine. The issue is with the pens and manufacturing the pens. And I saw a really interesting picture the other day, and I'll try to post it here for you, where somebody had x-rayed the inside of the Mounjaro pen to show all of the components. It was very, very interesting. My thing is, and what I would really love to see is, I would love to see them do something similar like what these compounding places are doing, where you just get a vial, you draw up the medication yourself, just like you would for insulin, and you give yourself the medication. I would be very interested to see that, because I think that they could mass produce that to meet the demand instead of sticking with these pens, and still offer the pens as an option, right? Because there are some individuals who really struggle with giving themselves a shot. I was nervous about it in the beginning too, but I will say I am a pro now. I enjoy shot day. There are a lot of people that look forward to it, right? So it's not so terrible. And I think that there would be a large enough group of us who would be willing to draw up our own medicine, right, from a vial and administer our own shot, right? All the people on compounded, that's exactly what they're doing. So I'm curious as to why they're not doing that. I wonder if it has to do with compounding, right? Because you have to mix the medication with another component in order for it to be shelf stable, right? It stays in the refrigerator, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know at this point if the pens are really buying them anything. Like, is that to keep them at their price point? I don't know. Anyway, I got off on a tangent. Let me know down below in the comments if you would be willing to get the medication direct from the pharmacy in a vial, draw up your own, right, in a syringe and do it yourself. Or if that would be something you would not be interested in and you would stick with the pen. Let me know if you're team vial or team pen in the comments. I'm very interested to see how others feel about this. Because for me, if it meant that I didn't have to stress out about a shortage, I would do whatever it took to make it work. I don't care if I have to mix stuff myself. Like, just give me instructions. I'll do it, right? So it's very interesting. But back to my point about the shortage. There are options, right? And I've already mentioned compound. And I'm going to put a list on the screen here of some compounding places that I've researched that are legitimate, that use legitimate pharmacies that are FDA inspected. If you run into a situation where you cannot get your medication and you have to go the compounded route, please do your research. Do not get it from some random med spa down the street that's just going to give you, peptides that are, don't do that. Don't do that. There are so many people that post in the support groups about how they went to some med spa down the street and they feel like they're injecting water and they've spent, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars and they're getting ripped off. So please don't do that. Go with a telehealth company, go with somebody responsible. You need to research them to figure out which ones will ship to your state. And you also need to keep in mind that there will be an adjustment. If you're used to doing a pen and you're going to be, right, drawing out of a vial and injecting yourself, there's a little bit of a learning curve there. And each company does things differently and has different instructions. So you just want to make sure that you're doing your research and that you are, doing the best that you can during this shortage. The other thing you can do is call around. You may have to call multiple pharmacies, figure out which pharmacies are that accept your insurance. You can find that on your insurance company's website. And then many of them have a function where you can put in your zip code and it'll tell you all of the pharmacies like within a 100-mile radius. Mom and pop shops, bigger pharmacies, hospital pharmacies, privately owned pharmacies, big chain pharmacies, right? They'll all be listed there. And what you can do is you can call around to each one and see if they have your dose in stock or if they're anticipating that it's going to come in. Now, one thing that I want you to keep in mind that I don't see anybody talking about is if you transfer your prescription to that pharmacy so that you can get that filled, right? Make sure that you transfer it back to whatever your original pharmacy was for your next dose if your pharmacy has it in stock. If you leave it and your doctor goes to refill your prescription again, it's going to get filled at whatever that pharmacy is way far away that you had to travel to get your prescription filled. So please keep that in mind. Save yourself a lot of hassle. Many of the bigger pharmacy chains like CVS, they have an app and you can actually transfer the prescription to another location in the app and then transfer it back. So look and see what's available for you based on your insurance, right? But keep in mind, you may have to drive really far away to get your dose, especially if you're somebody like me who lives in a small town. The bigger metropolitan areas, the hospitals, they often get more of the medication in, right? So you may have better luck finding it there. Now, the other thing is, if your medication becomes available, like if they can fill your prescription and it says ready to pick up, go get it. Do not wait. There was a lady who posted in one of the support groups and she waited until the weekend to pick up her medication. It was filled on like a Monday or Tuesday. She waited until the weekend to go get it, and they essentially sold it out from under her because of the shortage. It's like technically, like with CVS, you have, I think, 10 to 14 days to pick up your medication. I don't know what pharmacy this was, but I'm telling you, if you can get your medicine, your prescription filled, do not wait. Pick it up same day. Go on your lunch break if you have to. Go and pick it up so that you're not in a situation where they've, given it to somebody else. It's one of those things where, we're just going to have to limp through and do the best that we can. Many people are talking about extending their doses, which I highly recommend you should talk to your doctor about before you do it. Just like if you're in maintenance, let me start over. In maintenance, people will do a weekly dose, but then stretch it out to 10 days, 14 days, right, to try to save and make it last longer. A lot of that is really going to depend on your dosage, how it's working for you, right? That's why I said you should talk to your doctor. That's also an option if you want to try that to make your medication last longer. If you can, if you have insurance that will cover the lower doses and you can find the lower doses and combine them to make your dose, again, talk to your doctor. But when I talked to my doctor about it, she did say, yes, if you want to do, 2.5s to make a 5, you can, just don't inject them in the same site. But again, talk to your doctor. A lot of insurance companies will put a cap on how often you can get the prescription filled. So just be aware of that. If you're doing something like combining 2 doses, that means you're going to run out of it twice as fast, right? And there are quite a few people who have dropped down in dose, and they're really frustrated with the results, right? Because their body's gotten used to the higher dose. They might be gaining weight. They might have stopped losing weight. They might not have appetite suppression, right? And they're frustrated by this. And that's completely normal when you drop down in dose. If the shortage is affecting you in that way and you're having to drop down, you may just have to suck it up and power through. And I know that sucks. And maybe you gain a little bit of weight back. You know, maybe your numbers are not as good for your blood sugar for a little while, but hopefully, right, they'll get this manufacturing thing under control in the next few months, and they can get the supply back up. The other thing that you may want to consider is switching, right? If you're on Mounjaro, switch to Ozempic. I think that it will just be a matter of time before there are enough people who do that to then cause a shortage of those medications. So it's kind of, you're just kind of in a pickle, right? No matter what you do, you're in a pickle, unless you go with compounding, but then you're paying out of pocket. So then it becomes a matter of, can you afford that, right? And even with the compounding, you're looking at $250 to $500 a month, depending on, you know, who you go with. So anyway, I'm wishing everybody the best of luck. I hope that everybody can get their prescriptions filled. I hope they get this shortage figured out. And we'll just keep doing the best we can. If you've made it this far in the video, please give me a like. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. My content is not normally this sad, but it's an important topic that we need to talk about. So I just wanted to get it out there. And then, yeah, if you subscribe, then you'll be here for all the fun stuff. All right. We'll see you in the next video.